You ever wake up thinking the world is pretty much what it seems, and by sunset, you're an alleged criminal in your own driveway, watching three police cruisers barrel down Maple Street, sirens blaring, neighbors gawking like it's free cable? Yeah, that was me last Sunday. I was the intruder, at least, according to Betty Whitfield, the queen of our HOA, who'd somehow convinced half the county I was running a land heist out of my own front yard. All because I hammered up a no trespassing sign on my own property, mind you, after catching muddy boot prints in my garden for the third time that week. So picture it. Sun's barely up, my sign's looking pretty righteous and straight, just where my deed says my land begins. And boom, here come the cops. I'm talking full scene. Neighbors poking their heads out like prairie dogs. Johnsons on their porch with their coffee frozen mid-sip. Even the postal guy parked up at the curb like he bought tickets to the circus. Officer Williams, nice guy, usually strolls up, hand hovering near his belt, and asks, "Sir, we got a call about an intruder on HOA property." Let me tell you, adrenaline is a funny thing. I'm standing in my own driveway, keys still warm in my pocket, and I'm somehow public enemy number one. And there's Betty, clutching her clipboard, lips pursed like she's at the Oscars for Best Supporting Drama Queen. That's him, officer. He's illegally occupying community land. The absurdity of it almost knocked me over. If you've ever tangled with an HOA, you know they don't play around. But criminal charges? For putting up a sign? Ma'am, you're saying this gentleman doesn't live here? Officer Williams asks, notebook at the ready. Betty, of course, does her best lawyer impression, adjusting her glasses and flipping through pages like she's got the lost city of gold tucked in her folder. She's got emergency injunctions, board meeting minutes, notarized statements, whole stack of legal theater, and not a single scrap of it ever crossed my desk before today. I try to keep my voice steady. Officer, my name's Sam Thompson. This is 42 Maple. I got the deed, mortgage, bills, HOA receipts, you name it. My wife's Honda is parked right there. We've been here 8 months. That's our welcome mat, our gnome, our garden. Betty gives me a look like I'm the world's slickest squatter. That's what they all say, she says, not missing a beat. People get emotionally attached. They fake paperwork, even utility accounts. I have proof his foundation, his driveway, his garden beds, all 3 feet past the real boundary on community land. I wanted to scream. I measured that sign twice. I followed the surveyor's flags from the day we closed. I took photos. Someone's been stomping through our basil every night. That's why I put the sign up, not because I was plotting some epic HOA land grab. Officer Williams asks for documents from both sides. Betty whips out a manila folder big enough to choke a horse, full of official-looking stuff, county seals, survey maps, all of it. She's got witness statements, too, apparently about my increasingly aggressive behavior, which, sure, if you count mulching and planting tomatoes. I never got a notice for any meeting. Never saw a single update about a new survey. For 8 months, I paid every fee, mowed every inch to code, didn't so much as let my grass go brown. This was my first clue anything was wrong. That's when Detective Hayes arrives, older guy, sharp eyes, not one to get pushed around. He listens to both sides, quiet as a statue. The sun climbs higher, burning into my back while half the block whispers like we're hosting neighborhood court TV. Finally, Hayes looks up. "Sir, do you have proof this land belongs to you and not the HOA? I flash back just 12 hours ago. Jennifer and I were sipping coffee, talking kitchen remodels, not expecting any drama. She's a forensic pathologist, so when she saw those muddy footprints, she went full CS. Those aren't animal tracks, Sam. Human, size 10 or 11. We took photos, mapped everything out, double-checked the survey, planned to put up lights and a camera, and only if the deed confirmed our line, the sign. We did everything by the book. What I didn't know was that Betty had been lurking behind her kitchen window, watching my every move. That same day, she called an emergency HOA meeting her living room, 3 board members, and a story spun so tight it'd fool a lie detector. She had maps, new surveys, scary language about aggressive territorial behavior. She painted me as some kind of land-grabbing outlaw. And the board? They just nodded along. Most hadn't even seen the new survey before, but Betty had all the answers. Turned out, she paid a questionable firm to produce exactly what she needed. Her logic was bulletproof on the surface. She got unanimous approval to take emergency legal action. By midnight, she'd filed an injunction, called her old law buddies, and set the trap for Sunday morning. I never saw it coming. When I was arrested, it went viral before I even made it back inside. By noon, our story was trending on the neighborhood page. Local man arrested for trespassing on owned property. Jennifer sat with me at the kitchen table, scrolling through the comments, always knew he was trouble. Who needs that kind of neighbor? Betty's post was a masterclass in spin photos of my sign, looking like a billboard. Official-looking survey snippets, statements about community safety. She even made it sound like my entire house was 3 feet over the line. If her documents were believed, I wasn't just losing the sign, I could lose my home, my insurance, my livelihood. By 3 p.m., I got a certified letter. Restraining order, cease and desist, $5,000 fine for illegal signage, and an order to vacate the 3-foot stripe or else. Suddenly, our driveway was off limits, my own garden out of bounds. Jennifer, ever the scientist, read the legalese with a frown. This isn't just about the sign, Sam. They're trying to take our house. The pressure built fast. Neighbors shunned us. Mail left to the curb. Even the Johnson kids stopped riding bikes past our yard. Betty called a live-streamed HOA meeting, whipped up the crowd, displayed her proof on the projector. She talked about adverse possession like I was some master criminal, claimed my property was a ticking legal time bomb for the whole community. The next day, a local reporter showed up, camera in my face. I managed, show me your survey, I'll show you mine. Jennifer backed me up with the deed, permits, the original county survey. That didn't stop the gossip. My firm called, I was put on leave. State licensing board emailed, asking for documentation on my ethics violation. 20 years of work, down the drain over a 12-inch piece of aluminum and one neighbor's vendetta. Betty's lawyer bombarded us with threats, property seizure, $12,000 damages, criminal charges. The bank called about our mortgage. Jennifer's boss suggested she lay low at work. Our lives, shredded reputation in tatters, legal bills climbing by the hour. By Friday, a settlement offer landed on our doorstep. Sell the house to the HOA at 70% value, pay their legal fees, and sign a never challenge us again clause. The clause even required a public apology. It was designed for us to reject so Betty could escalate. But here's where things turned. Jennifer, who'd been destroyed by the ordeal all week, switched gears full forensic pathologist mode. She spread Betty's evidence across the dining table, pulled on gloves, and started examining every page, every signature, every seal. She found inconsistencies, identical ink on signatures dated weeks apart, matching pressure patterns, oddities in the notary stamps. The paper was all from the same batch. Numbers altered after printing, ink density off, math that didn't add up. The surveyor's company? Suspended for fraud 6 months, Agacon even legally signed a survey. Meanwhile, I dug up digital records photos with GPS and timestamps, email chains, contractor receipts. The county inspection from our closing? Same surveyor Betty now claimed said we were over the line. Either he lied then or now. Jennifer found Betty's real motive. $847,000 in gambling debts coming due. She'd done this to other families, same fraudulent documents, emergency board actions, settlement, offers at a loss. We weren't her first rodeo, just her riskiest. So we set a trap. I called Betty, played defeated, arranged a meeting at a coffee shop. Jennifer wired up hidden cameras, her evidence handling skills coming in clutch. State law allowed us to record everything. Betty, drunk on victory, bragged through the whole meeting how she watched for months, paid off surveyors, manufactured emergencies, even planned to flip my lot to her brother-in-law's company with community improvements in the works. She boasted about previous successes. She explained, condescending as always, how survey technology had changed and my outdated deed didn't mean squat. Then the sirens hit. Detective Hayes walked in, handcuffs out, reading charges: fraud, conspiracy, bribery, extortion. Betty's face went from smug to ghostly white in seconds. The evidence was overwhelming. Manipulated documents, professional confessions, corrupt surveyors flipping for immunity. Within days, Betty's empire collapsed. The survey firm got raided. Her developer brother-in-law indicted. Assets frozen, permits revoked. Turns out, Betty had scammed families out of $2.8 million in 3 years. Every board member resigned. The HOA restructured with term limits and outside audits. Our property was confirmed never encroached. The yellow tape came down, apologies rolled in. Our trespassing sign was donated to the Legal Aid Society as a symbol. 6 months later, the garden's growing again. Neighbors wave. The mail carrier actually says hi. Jennifer's become a local hero. Her forensic work, now a model for legal battles statewide. I'm back at work, more clients than ever. Even the Johnson kids left us a chalk drawing 2 houses, 1 garden, a bright line between marked hours. Betty? She's serving 18 months federal time. Everything she stole being auctioned off for restitution. Her name once a threat is now a warning. You'd think the story ends there, but I still look at that sign sometimes, thinking how a scrap of aluminum started a war and finished it. If you've ever battled an HOA or had your own run-in with neighborhood authority, I want to hear about it. Comment below, tell me if you think justice was done or what you'd have done in my place. And hit subscribe because in neighborhoods like this, truth is always stranger than fiction and sometimes the only way to win is to stand your ground.